budget.
But I'm working on this for that.
Okay, but
I know
we're good.
it,
Yeah.
Okay.
it seems
All right.
expensive.
All right, it is 7 p.m. We will get started. Let the record reflect that all elected directors are here and our student rep is here also. Let's go ahead and do our flag salute.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And Dan, changes to the agenda.
We'd like to, just for the sake, we have a visitor here from Snow Isle Skill Center, and so I would like to take items number 1
Can you
number
speak
2.
up?
Just flip-flopping.
I can't hear you. I couldn't hear what he said.
Going to take items number 1 and number 2 under the business section and
Okay.
flip-flopping.
Would you like to move your seat over here?
No,
Okay.
just talk louder.
Okay, so we will do that. So when we have a change in the agenda, we actually do need to vote on that. So do I have a motion to approve the updated agenda?
Motion to approve the updated agenda.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Public comment section. We have a lot of people here, which is awesome. So hopefully you guys will stay. Normally at the beginning, before we do public comment, we address any questions that came up from the last meeting. We really didn't have a lot of questions per se that needed answers to, but Whitney, I know, had brought up a couple of things about board turnover, so I wanted to address that real quick. This past year we had 3 positions up, and then in 2 years there'll be 2 positions up. So when you have those 3 positions up, it does seem like there's a lot of turnover. It's not. The people just decided to basically retire. So that's why it kind of seems like there's, a lot of new people, and there are a lot of new people. So that is great. Public comment. Our board has adopted policy procedure 1400. That policy and procedure are available on the school district website. By adopting this policy, board meetings must be conducted in a civil, orderly, and business-like manner. This means that whether we are school directors, district staff, students, members of the community, or some other guests, we must all follow the same standard of civility during school board meetings. Generally, the first item of business at every regular board meeting is public comment, which is something we value. It's an opportunity for visitors to be recognized and make brief comments. Please keep in mind that this is the only time that the public is recognized to speak. Comments and questions during the meeting are not allowed, and the board will not respond. We have a sign-in sheet for those who wish to speak. This allows us to call you forward. If we have members of the public who are attending remotely and would like to speak, please enter your name in the text box. The total time period is 30 minutes if we had a lot of people. Each speaker has a maximum of 3 minutes. There's no mechanism whereby a speaker can donate some or all of their time to another speaker. No individual may speak more than once. Public comments period is an opportunity for the board to listen to individuals on educational issues, and board members are encouraged to listen attentively. However, public comment period is not a time for dialogue between the board and the public. The board will not respond to statements, questions, or challenges made during public comment period, and there will be no back and forth dialogue. Please know that the board's silence is neutral. It is neither a signal of agreement nor disagreement with the speaker's remarks. And although the board will not engage in dialogue, the board chair or superintendent might ask the speaker a clarifying question or respond to a specific comment. If you have a specific question or issue that you would like the district to follow up on, please let us know and someone will contact you within 72 hours. Please remember that your words have impact, and you, not the school district, are responsible for your words. We caution all speakers that it is possible that your statements could violate the rights of others under various laws, including laws protecting privacy and laws prohibiting defamation. If you are unsure of the legal effect of your remarks, you should seek independent legal advice. In any case, we ask that you help us model for our students what a respectful and inclusive community looks like. With all of that said, it's a lot. We have Jeff. Estes. Good evening, Jeff.
Good evening.
You have 3 minutes.
Okay, greetings, trying to remember where I'm at here, the school board, members and administration. I'm Jeff Estes and I reside in Startup. I appreciate the opportunity to speak here tonight. I'm also a avid tutor 2 times a week up at the middle school. And I just thought I would come in tonight and offer some suggestions and some advice, if you will. And I think it's time for all of us to build confidence and turn around student performance. You've heard me speak in the past about academics. I think we should focus on literacy, phonetics, math, and not exclusively focus on achievement, okay? We need to improve engagement and produce positive outcomes. Start with governance, leadership, structure, and behavior. We should definitely get rid of any dysfunctional values and beliefs and any negative traditions and caustic ways of interacting. Let's not view students as the problem, but let's view them rather as valued clients. Years and years of business, and I've often thought, what if we looked at families and students as customers? School leaders should cultivate an environment where staff and students feel safe to voice their ideas, concerns, and mistakes without fear of punishment or humiliation. This requires leaders to respond constructively to feedback and failures, emphasizing learning and improvement over blame and retribution. Do not emphasize rules over people or mission. Encourage honest dialogue. Have a clear sense of purpose. Be decisive. The school board, we know they govern and the superintendent administers. But there's a couple other things I've read up on and I thought was interesting that, for instance, the superintendent should ensure that the needs of an entire community of public schools and the children who attend them are met. Superintendent is responsible for ensuring that our students get the best education possible. In general, all school boards have 3 major responsibilities, which I'm sure you're familiar with: developing the annual budget to run the school system, setting school policies, and hiring and evaluating the superintendent. The school boards are entrusted with approving curriculum and evaluating student achievement. And while I'm speaking of curriculum, I just want to show you something here, my visual aid. This is a program, this book here is called UFly Foundations, okay? It's teaching phonetics to elementary age kids. This book costs $80. The associated website is free to use. It's fascinating. It's a toolbox. I had someone from a different school district show me how this is used, and it's just amazing. And Gobar may be using it. Mike could probably better answer this than me, but I think this is missing. And when I see middle school students that can't pronounce words, I'm thinking, what happened? What's curriculum taught them to where they don't know how to pronounce words? Where's their phonetics training? So definitely this is something that the school district should look into. Remember, the role of the school board is to ensure that school districts are responsive to the values, beliefs, and priorities of their communities. And then one other suggestion I have that I just developed at the last meeting was we often have staff meetings in the beginning before classes start at the different schools. And I know mental health these days is a big issue. And so I would suggest that we utilize mental health professionals that would offer their services for free to come in and talk during these staff meetings, and as well as counselors at the different schools. Especially they can come and share mindfulness and things like that at these staff meetings. I think it would be wonderful to consider having that implemented. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff.
And we do have an instructional materials committee that is always looking for volunteers that can come. We spend a lot of time going through curriculum, so if you're interested in volunteering for that, you can let Mike know, Marin. All right, we have one, Steve Hall.
Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Holland from Gold Bar. You've probably seen a lot of my posts. Gigi's commented on a lot of my posts in here, trying to justify what I've said. I was asked on one of my last posts, being the school bond did not pass, what were my proactive suggestions to help these students? And I started thinking, that's not my job. That's what these people are paid for. They're paid to be proactive, not reactive as they're doing. They've been reactive since 2016. The voters have lost faith in them. They've lost trust in them since 2016, since they tried to push that bond through with the Performing Arts Center, and the new gym was not even necessary. At that time, there were 44 less students in 2016 than there were last year. This year there's 5 less, so there's 39 more this year than there were in 2016. So why wasn't that a big issue back then? Why weren't these schools taken care of back then? This board is not going to gain the faith back of these people. You know what they say about trust? Trust is easy to lose, but it's hard to gain back. And this board will never gain back the trust from the voters. The more people I talk to are confirming what I've said. So it's time to get rid of these people. Let's get some new blood in here. Let's get some people in here from the community that you people can trust, that you have faith in, that you want to stand behind. Not people that you don't trust, not people that have mismanaged funds, that are not running the school district properly. That's their job. Their job is to run the school district. If they're running the school district, we wouldn't have buildings that are falling apart. We wouldn't have problems with the students. We wouldn't have the low education of the students in the middle school and high school. They say it's overcrowding. There's no overcrowding in the middle school and high school. Why are the grades so low? That has nothing to do with overcrowding. My son teaches, his class is 25 minimum in his class. Now, I don't know how many they have per class here and what you consider excessive, but in his math class he teaches, he's a 6th grade teacher. He teaches math because he's a very intelligent math person. He has 35 kids in there, and they all learn. They all sit down, they all listen, and they all are there to learn. The students here are not here to learn.
Thank you, that's 3 minutes.
Okay. And the teachers need to learn how to motivate and encourage these kids so that they are able to learn.
Okay, we have consent agenda. Anyone have any changes to the consent agenda?
No.
No.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda, please, Gigi,
As it stands?
as it stands.
All right, we have a motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, consent agenda. All right, so since we have 3 new board members on the board, 2 that have been here, let's see, 2 weeks, and maybe how
4
long?
weeks.
4 weeks, and a couple of months.
I just won the November election,
So,
New board.
there's a brand new board up here that none of
Brand new
us were
board.
here in 2016.
You gotta get rid of some.
So, let's go ahead and go on. We're going to do ASB, excuse me?
No, I mean,
No. No talking.
No?
If you want to talk, you can go outside. All right, Cameron,
Hi, that's me.
you are up for our student representative.
Hi, I'm Cameron Ski. I'm a junior at the Sultan High School. I'm the student representative. So some things I want to talk about. I'm going to reiterate some of the things that I said from our last meeting that weren't really counted as me talking. So some things was our cheer team, our competition cheer team, they are now back-to-back state champions in small game day, which is amazing and great, and honestly a great accomplishment right there from us. Especially coming from a small school, I think that's amazing. I think it is. We're small but mighty. And some more things. Something really cool and new. Our boys basketball team made it to state. They haven't done that in quite enough years. Pretty long. About 2006 is the last time I believe they went. So that was really great there because they beat a school called Bear Creek. They beat them to go to state. And then this last Saturday, they beat a school called Monarch last Saturday to move forward in state, which is a big deal because we haven't moved forward since 1961. Wow. So that is huge. The fact that just making the state is huge, but moving forward is even bigger, especially since we haven't done it in so long. So I really want to congratulate them on that, and that's a really great accomplishment is in the fact going to state and then moving forward. And more about basketball, we play on Wednesday at noon in Yakima. So if anyone wants to go cheer on the boys this Wednesday at noon in Yakima, please do. They could use all the love and support they can. I know it's weird, it's on a Wednesday, but you know, I don't choose the dates. And then today, spring sports started. So our softball, baseball, boys soccer, track and field, and golf all started. Well, golf got canceled because of the weather today, but all the other sports happened. Cold, rainy, and wet, snowy. We all did it. Okay, moving on. Actually, that's that. That's all I kind of have because I would say the Turk of a month for Sultan at the high school, but that's coming up next. So I won't spoil that.
Thank you. Did we have any committee or association reports? I skipped over that one. No? Okay. Students of the month.
So thank you, Students of the Month. I see many families, and I just asked my friend Paul McKenzie, Paul, what brings you here? It says Student of the Month. I should have known that, so that's awesome. It's great to see you guys. So this is something that we want to make a bigger part of board meetings, and sometimes the timing works such that we don't have a lot of time before the next meeting, and then we're off to the next month. And so if you're a parent and a Student of the Month, will you raise your hand?
How about the students stand up?
Yeah, students stand up. And I'm gonna just talk a little bit and read your name, and I don't have all of the details about each of you, but I just want to, you know, this is why we do this, and this is why we're all here, is for your well-being. And you guys have been recognized by your peers, by teachers, by whatever school criteria there is for being doing a great job. And I just want to tell you, as a representative of the school district, I couldn't be prouder of you. And I know that your mom and dad must be sitting here feeling really good about being in this room with a bunch of people you don't know, and getting recognized for doing good things and whatnot. So I'm going to go ahead and read each student. So for Sultan High School, and if someone
you
might
guys
not
can
be
sit
here,
back down.
Frida Shafez. Are you here, Frida? No, she's not here. Okay. Natalie Estudio Hernandez. Natalie's not here. Sarah Gillespie. I know Sarah's here.
Yeah.
Go ahead and stand up, Sarah. Gustavo Perez Zamora. Gustavo here? No. Okay. Connor Talek is here. And for Sultan Middle School, Rosalie McKenzie. Atilia Klett. And if I pronounce a name incorrectly, just let me know. I apologize up front. Kachina Baker. Did I pronounce your name correctly?
Yes.
Awesome. Braxton Stedman. Oh, okay. Alex Samaritano. Not here. And then Emily Saldana. Is Emily here? So we're going to incorporate these kinds of things, or students at the middle school or whatnot that are recognized for a certain trait that they're focused on each month, and incorporate these more into the board meetings. And so I'm really thankful to all of you kids and parents for joining us on pretty short notice. And you know, we want to celebrate your successes and help you, you know, as much as we can foster your well-being and growth. And so you guys have just continued to do a great job, and we're recognized for the unique factors that make you who you are. And so I want to thank each of you for all that you do. Good
Thank
job.
you. And we appreciate you all coming, and if you would like to stay, you're more than welcome to, but also we understand if you want to leave.
Gigi,
Yes.
you have,
Oh,
I forgot, I'm an associate, we're presenting for SEA.
okay, come on up.
oh, for the committee report?
Yes.
Yes, that's
Oh,
fine, come on
gotcha.
up.
Bree's usually here.
But yeah, parents and students, if you guys want to head out, then what?
Thank you all
Isn't
for
this number
coming.
2 on the agenda? Isn't it on it already?
Yeah, but we were up to number 3, and she's saying that we missed.
The
They
committee.
didn't,
We missed the
they didn't jump in and say, we're
Yeah, we
here.
didn't know
Okay.
that. Yeah, did not.
Okay,
Sorry.
gotcha.
Thank you
Thank for
guys.
bringing it to our attention before we kept going.
Well, yeah, because I was like, I thought we were supposed to go first, and then, yeah. Okay, here we are. Yeah. So I'm Marissa Lynch. I teach at the high school. I'm the building rep for SEA, and I brought some friends here to kind of share out some good things that are happening at SHS. Which of you would like to go first? All right.
I am Catherine Power. I am a teacher there, also the head of the ASB, and our ASB has put together a really cool opportunity for community members to kind of show their support. We have this new Blue Crew opportunity, and it's a way to kind of donate money to the school, and then depending on your level, you could get an awesome sticker or window cling, and then we have cool t-shirts. And I know that I have too many t-shirts in my closet, so we have the opportunity for you to donate your t-shirt instead. We've already had 4 members at like the top level, so that has equated to 7 different t-shirts being like donated out to our students, which I think is a great opportunity because we have a lot of students that want to participate and show their school spirit, but don't necessarily always have the means to do that. So this is a way to do that, and ASB worked hard to put that all together.
I like my stickers.
Good evening. I'm Michelle Fuller. I teach at the high school, math, credit retrieval, history, all sorts of things. I'm here to show out a couple of different things. First, we had our first Pacific Northwest history class this year. We had 5 students earn college and high school credit, and the course has been approved by Everett Community College to continue, so we met that requirement. Mr. Brumley had 53 students who earned personal finance credit for his course for college and the high school. We have 8 kids on track to earn pre-calculus credit, and then we have 4 kids who are taking the AP pre-calculus test this year. We also have 4 students who are entering the Speaker of the Year contest for AVID for senior year next year. Hopefully we'll get to go back on another retreat so they can join us. And so they've been working really hard on putting together their speech for the national competition.
Awesome, thank you.
Yes.
Hello, directors. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Brandy Varnell, and I teach the health science programs at Sultan High School. So many of you guys are new faces to me. I've just seen you a couple times. I just wanted to take a few minutes and let you know about some amazing things that are happening in health science right now. This is our time of year, definitely. Our programs are really deeply rooted in a commitment to excellence and driven by a passion for healthcare. We provide a comprehensive pathway for students seeking careers in the healthcare field through 4 progressive levels of study. And our health science programs offer students a rigorous and immersive educational experience that just keeps getting deeper, equipping them with necessary skills and knowledge to excel both in post-secondary academic endeavors and in careers as healthcare professionals. Some exciting things I want to share with you. We have a proud history of producing health professionals who actively contribute to the well-being of our own community. For instance, we're delighted to share that 3 full-time EMTs at the Gold Bar Fire Department are alumni of our Sultan Healthcare programs, health science programs. Furthermore, 2 of our current seniors have earned positions as physical therapy assistants at Summit Rehab, a testament to the real-world applicability and effectiveness of our programs. Their success underscores the impact of our programs in shaping competent and capable healthcare professionals. One of the hallmarks of our programs is our consistent performance in state competitions, where students have established themselves as leaders and top contenders academically. Last year, we placed 4th in state in medical research, 2nd in sports medicine, and for the 3rd year in a row, our anatomy team secured the coveted 1st place championship in the state anatomy competition. That team of 4 girls then achieved the remarkable 6th place finish at the national anatomy competition. So that tells me my students are here to learn.
Very good. Wonderful.
Our students are continuing their legacy of academic excellence in academic competitions. Our national anatomy team, comprised of seniors Grace Plummer, Peyton Schlicker, Camden Fajardo, and sophomore McKenna Murphy, continues to shine on a national stage. Because of their high placing in last year's competition, they were offered an opportunity to compete for a seed at the national competition this year, and I am so proud to report that their exceptional performance in the preliminary testing has earned another well-deserved invitation to this year's National Anatomy competition on June 1st. They will compete there against the best high school anatomy teams in the nation. With their impressive track record and unwavering dedication, they embody the spirit of excellence that defines health science and all the programs at Sultan High School. Right now, we're preparing to go to state. Again, we have 12 competitors competing in 10 different competitions. This year, they're competing in clinical specialties, health education, sports medicine, healthcare policy and advocacy, pathophysiology, and medical problem solving, and more. I know it's a lot, but I'm going to go fast. We are so proud that our own Sultan High School senior Maria Vasquez has served for 2 years as the Washington HOSA president. That's the highest leadership opportunity for healthcare students in the state of Washington. For 2 years she's served, and she's gracefully stepping aside. But I would like to point out that under her guidance, Washington HOSA has risen from the 22nd largest career and technical student organization to the 14th largest in the nation, Washington State. A testament to her vision and dedication. We're also excited to announce the candidacy of sophomore Isabella Webb for Washington HOSA Executive State Officer, position of Region 5 Vice President, where she would be the representative of every high school in ESD 189. Our health science students have taken a proactive step to address the vaping epidemic throughout our community and in Washington State, and created a purely organic campaign called Clear the Air, demonstrating their dedication to the well-being of our community, and they worked hard on this all year. They've provided education and resources to educators at the high school, at the middle school, to students and families in the Sky Valley about vaping and its dangers. Recognizing the urgent need to combat vaping among 8th graders, one of the highest growing populations in the U.S. that use vape devices, our advanced sports medicine and HOSA team took it upon themselves to educate their younger peers. They took over Darcy Murphy's 8th grade health class earlier in the month and taught 5 hours in a row, 5 individual health classes with interactive peer-led information sessions on vaping and vaping dangers. They effectively touched every single 8th grader in our school district, and the feedback from those 8th graders was overwhelmingly positive. The feedback was incredible, reaffirming the effectiveness of peer education, promoting healthy behaviors among adolescents. We've developed strong partnerships with many local health professionals and organizations, and now our sports medicine students are enjoying immersive job shadows with local physicians, nurses, pharmacists, physical therapists, and they are performing regular ride-alongs with our new paramedics at the Sultan Fire District. I am so proud of these students as they represent Sultan High School by serving and leading in our community, both on the state and national stage. These accomplishments reflect not only their academic prowess, but their commitment to making a positive impact in healthcare in our community and beyond. A lot, but you need to know it.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm just going to follow up. I'm going to report for Jeff Brumley, who couldn't be here because, like Cameron said, he's preparing to take some boys to state tomorrow. Michelle mentioned this, but 53 students earned college credit from Everett Community College for personal finance. 7 students earned college credit for digital communications. 8 earned Microsoft User Specialist certification in Microsoft Word, and 9 students earned Microsoft Office User Specialist certification in PowerPoint.
Very good.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks guys.
It's great to hear because we have awesome teachers and we have wonderful students, and it's so nice to get that out there instead of like the negative that you get. So, because we have great people.
Great list of achievements.
Yes. Mike Marin, you got to follow that up.
Good evening, directors. So in your packet that you received at the end of last week, so this was I'm not quite sure how this happened, but you passed, or the board at the time in 2021 passed the graduation requirements for which is policy 2410. So one of the things that we're charged with is to create the procedure. We had actually had both documents, and we chose to just present the policy, and then procedure didn't get quite done. We are following it, but we just didn't get it in front of you. So this is really more just information for tonight. It's multiple pages, but I think there's 10 total. So but it's really how the counselors, the administration, and in every kind of situation that comes up, and how they're reacting or acting to promote the positive graduation requirement. So any questions?
I did not have any questions. Marianne, questions? Cameron, questions? Isaac?
No,
Dave?
it seems pretty well
Okay.
laid out. Thank
Yeah.
you.
All right.
Awesome. You'll
So
be
it's-
back later, right?
Yep, I'm
Okay.
coming. I'll be 3 times. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Douglas.
Good evening, directors. I think I'm also up like 3 or 4 times today. So Kayla, can you click on which one this is?
Which one is this?
Yeah.
Come on, Kayla.
I know, I tell ya. Come on, Kayla.
I can see her face, but I can't see her do anything. Thanks, Dave, for doing that.
Is it the graduation requirement?
No, I just did that.
I think it's the next agenda item, isn't it?
This one right here?
Number 5.
District budgets.
Under presentations, number 5.
Come on, Kayla, do a better job.
Nope.
That pass
Go
it.
back down. Yep. Where's presentation?
Kayla is contagious, and that's why she is not here. So Dave so nicely stepped in to help us out.
See, I see,
See an attachment on it.
Paul, but I don't see the attachment. There's Paul.
There it is.
But there's no attachment.
There is no attachment. I'm looking at it here.
That means I get to sit down.
Is it from separate?
Sorry, Paul.
No worries.
Hi, can everybody hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think, Paul, you're looking for the approval of SHS's satellite for Snow Owl Tech, correct?
No.
No, just his student special services update.
Oh, gotcha, okay.
I would just go from memory best you can.
Okay.
I'm not sure what.
Yeah. All right. So just giving you the update on the special services. Tonight I'm actually going to have Deb Shirley, one of our board certified nurses, come up and speak about her services tonight. As you know, Student Services has many different programs that are under that particular service. So part of our program is, of course, special education, McKinney-Vento. We also look at foster students. But one of the things I wanted to share tonight is, and oftentimes my particular role, I don't always see the positive. So you got to hear all the positive things the students were doing. One of the concerns that I wanted to share this evening, and just coming from our mental health committee prior to this, is we're seeing an increase in CPS referrals, so Child Protective Services referrals. It's also an area that is covered by Student Services, and it's alarming the number of CPS referrals that we're seeing in our community. And it's a reflective of what's happening. Obviously, I can't say specifically what is causing these things, but they're disturbing situations, and so we're having children are exposed to, from domestic violence in the home to guns in the home and potential suicide by parents, things like that. So the board just is working on mental health issues, but I want it to be upfront and known to the community that we need to do a lot of work around trauma-informed practices and continue to work with our children on how to address things that happen outside of school that are brought back into school.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
All right, board comments, that's something that's new. It's just time for each board member to give a short comment about something they might find important or interesting, and don't feel that you have to make a comment if you do not want to. Mary Ann, would you like to start? Because I'm sure you have something.
Well, yes. I would like to point out that Saturday, March 2nd is the next VOA Senior Center Pancake Breakfast. In the morning from 8 to 11, and it's $5, and it's a lot of food for $5, and it's a great place to network if you should desire to do that. I followed up with Jared regarding the plant sale, and I'm bringing this up because I love getting a hanging basket every year, and so the more we promote it, the more it sticks in people's brains that it's going to be May 3rd and 4th, that's a Friday and Saturday up at the high school greenhouse, and that's before Mother's Day that's going to occur on Sunday, May 12th. Oh, and Shindig, you know I've been the streetcar coordinator since 1997. We don't have a carnival this year. For anyone that hasn't heard that, it's been kind of a great big, it's a leap year, and so how many events they can book. We were low man on the totem pole. We lost our longtime contract over COVID, and so we started with a new company, and we don't have any seniority with the new company, and so it's going to be different. So I anticipate a lot of complaining. Just direct them my way. I'm used to it. Or Deb Koppel, no big deal. Other than that, I'm good.
What kind of pancakes?
Pancakes. The kind that you eat with maple syrup or jelly plus bacon or sausage, biscuits and gravy, eggs frittata, sometimes French toast.
They appreciate volunteers.
Blueberry or regular?
Would you like blueberry? I know the chef. I volunteer on Thursdays. I will tell her.
That's over at the
Bananas? Yeah, no, I'm capping out on bananas. Okay.
All right, Isaac, anything?
I have nothing.
Okay, Dave, do you have anything? Okay. I talk enough. So, but I do want to thank the Mental Health Advisory Committee members. Some of you guys are here, and hopefully the meeting went well after I left. But thank you guys for all of the time that you put in trying to raise the awareness of mental health issues that our students deal with. All right, Dan Ballard, financial reports.
Good evening, directors. All right, I know you have a lengthy agenda, so I'll keep my comments brief. I believe you have a copy of my report in your packet. Let's go over the enrollment for February of 2024. Traditional and ALE were both relatively flat, but combined about an increase of 2.5 FTE versus the prior month. So slightly up, but not significantly so. Next graph basically kind of, again, goes over our traditional overall enrollment and how it has matriculated going back to 09-10 through our current 23-24 year. You can see obviously there's a few COVID years in there that are quite low, that are anomalies. For kindergarten, the next graph, we've talked about this before. At Gold Bar this year, we had a very low number of kindergartners where we actually reduced one classroom of kindergartners. So that's what's contributed to the 145.8 versus 174.3 that you saw the prior year. Next graph goes over again, how is our traditional enrollment doing in reference to budget? As we've talked about before, obviously our enrollment came in significantly under. You can see though that we have progressively kind of inched our way up a little bit closer as those actual numbers with the red blocks as they are superimposed over the black triangles, which was the budgeted amount. Next graph is for ALE, our alternative learning environment students. Again, you can see we've had a little bit of a dip, but then it's basically kind of bounced back to where it was back in September, October. So we saw a small dip in November, December, but again, coming back to where essentially the changes been relatively flat when you look at the entirety of the 5 months. Next, you have, again, the report that we get from Snohomish County as far as outstanding taxes, property taxes receivable. The report goes back to 1996 up through 2024. Again, we just now have the authorization of the new levy amounts that will be going in for calendar year 2024. Again, tax collections are based on a calendar year, not a fiscal year.
What is certification adjustments there?
Certification adjustments means that's the amount they've added to the rolls. Basically, that is the amount, the certified amount for calendar year 2024 collections. So in the beginning, on that first month, you'll see that, where that is the amount, and then that'll roll over to the beginning balance in February. So, yep. Yeah, it's all assessed on a calendar year versus a fiscal year. So you'll see for each, for general fund, capital projects fund, and for bond fund. Then the budget status reports, which I'm required to present to you each month. Again, this is for January. For January, the first one, general fund, down at the bottom, the key number is ending fund balance $1,474,985. The next fund, Fund 20, which is your capital projects fund, $1,786,572. We'll also make a comment too that the tax anticipation note the district took out was paid this week. It was done yesterday, as a matter of fact, so that obligation has now been satisfied.
Thank you.
Fund 30, the debt service account, is $127,229. Fund 40, Associated Student Body. Again, this is all forms of ASB, which would be our 2 elementaries, our middle, and our high, and aggregate $208,163. And Fund 90, Transportation Vehicle Fund. This is for your yellow buses at $399,000, just under $400,000. Okay. Then what is shown after that is what we call exceptions reports. We break this out in the first one would be salaries and benefits. And looking at where are you at in the amount of your year completed. We're at 5 months, which would be 41.7%. And are you 41.7% spent or less than 41.7%, 47.1% spent? As you can see, we are under at 1.2% on a proportionate share right now as for salaries and benefits. For the second one, materials, supplies, and operating costs, we're 6.5% below. And if you take all areas together, you are 2.1% below. So again, there are some nuances to that, but basically green means you're below proportionate share, yellow means you are anywhere from 0 to 10% above proportionate share, and red means greater than 10% above. So not very much red, a little bit of yellow, but mostly green, so that's good. I did throw in there also too this one, which is revenue collections comparison. You know, we talk a lot about expenditures, but I added this one and I just kind of quickly put this together, and I want to refine this a little bit more and make this part of my monthly packet. So this is just the first attempt. But this basically looks at how are revenues coming in the current year, 23-24, versus the prior year, 22-23. Well, for 23-24, we're now at 37.1% of our expected revenues, where last year we were at 37.9%. So revenues are coming in a little bit slower, at a little bit slower clip than they were same point a year ago. But like I said, I'll continue to refine this and maybe put some graphs with it and kind of add it as another part of my monthly report next month. Now, as we look at fund balance projections, we did get our true up as far as January, as far as how that was going to affect our overall enrollment. Was happy to say that the estimates I had made were, the correction was less than the estimates that I had anticipated. So the correction was not quite as much as I had thought. As we go through here, one thing that I have added on this is we've gone through, sorry, put the right one here, have gone through, Dave, do you have another one there? Go again. Yeah, let's look at that one there. Sorry, I'm not sure why that other one might have been a prior revision. Anyway, this is the one that I've gone through as far as the updated amounts. And what I have added here is you can see something that is a little bit different. I know that Mr. Marin is going to be talking about a curriculum. We've talked about for quite a number of months, a proposed curriculum adoption for mathematics at the elementary level. What this has done is again, not making any assumptions, but have built in there some capacity should that move forward, what the impact of that would be. What it would be would be a 2 payment split. So you can see in the month of June, embedded in there is an additional $124,000, and then the second payment of that would be $124,300, but that would be in the month of September. So they're broken out into 2 pieces. So with that included, based on what we have looked at, you can see what the projections would be for fund balance from February through August. As we have talked about many times, June is always your lowest month. June, with based on this projection, would be at about $231,000 would be our low point, and ending the fiscal year at about just under $530,000. Questions on that? Again, not trying to be presumptuous, but
Did you add the transportation charge?
Have not. We have. Thank you for reminding me about that. We received notification end of last week, first of this week. Yeah, end of last week, on Friday, I believe it was. Is that we are going to get additional transportation allocation, which we'll see in February of $122,000 for the year, and that is not included in these numbers. That came in after this.
Meaning we're transporting a lot more kids than we thought we were going to be.
Yeah, that report was released after this report was produced, so I will integrate that into the update for next month. But yes, an additional $122,000 will receive, just like you would do with apportionment, will receive the portion through February that we should have received, and then a larger monthly apportionment thereafter for the remainder of the fiscal year. The last one, Dave, that page there, basically just goes over, what would be the ending fund balance in reference to minimum fund balance percentage, and $537,000 would put you at 1.4%, which is below what our current policy is at this point in time. Questions?
Marianne, do you have any questions?
Not at this time, no.
Cameron?
Not exactly pertaining to this.
Mm-hmm.
I just have a curiosity. So it's to do with ASB's equity balance. Have you sent us December's?
Yeah, you actually have January's as well too. Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Yep.
I just want to say thank you for really getting that in the 2 weeks between period that you said you would, because I feel it's a big help to us students when we have to make decisions based off deciding where our money will go for which program. So I really do appreciate you really getting that.
And I want
2 weeks time
to
period.
thank you, but I want to give credit where credit is due. Becky Moore, who was in our office, who's a new add to our team this year, has kind of taken over responsibility for that, and so I have to give her credit for that she has made that a priority. She really jumps on those right on the first of the month and is able to get those out sooner, so we've made that a priority in her work schedule. Okay.
Dave, before we go on to other questions, can you pull back up just the enrollment numbers so people can understand the correct enrollment numbers?
Yeah.
Isaac, did you have questions
No,
or
I'm
comments? Okay. Dave, do you have any comments or questions?
No, the enrollment's kind of fluttering down a little bit. But
No, I just meant questions about enrollment from prior years to now.
So what it does is,
Oh,
even
go back,
last year,
Dave.
we
One
grow
more.
over the course of
Go
the
up
year.
one more, Dave. One more. That graph there.
Yeah.
Did you talk about? Okay.
Because there's some enrollment numbers kind of floating around out there, and I just want to make sure that everyone
Right.
knows that these are the correct.
the gold bar or kindergarten was way down though, right?
So
do you
kindergarten
know
was a
why that
surprise.
happened?
Yeah.
For this year, yes. Kindergarten, essentially we had one less kindergarten class, essentially a full class that
That's
just
huge.
did not materialize this year at Gold Bar. And that has really caught us by surprise. So now, we're looking at that to say, okay, was that a one-year aberration, or is that something that is, going to be the new, quote unquote, the new norm? Are we going to just have less kindergartners? Speaking of that, we have done some preliminary work as far as enrollment. We'll be bringing that to you next month for consideration. So typically we do that in February, but just a lot of there's things going on and just didn't quite get it to you yet. But I've already worked on that.
And you can, when you look at that, you can see that, for years we were going down, and then it went up, and then it went down. But over the course of the last 2 years, we've grown. Every month we're adding kids. And then when you start over in September, you're not exactly sure. But we're going to bring you a pretty conservative forecast.
Mm-hmm. So does this include all the new building and development that we're having here?
Well, these are just our enrollment.
These are our enrollment.
Traditional enrollment. These are what we call brick and mortar kids. These are kids that are attending within our walls
So
now. Yes.
We have other kids that aren't included in this enrollment that are part of our online programs.
There's about 65 students that are in our what's called alternative learning environment, or ALE students.
So we get our budget from, we estimate the number of kids that we're going to have. So our problem this year is, well, last year we thought we were going to have more kids than we do have. So then that makes it where
Enrollment is the primary driver of funding from a state level. They're based on the number of students, which you get what we call apportionment, is driven directly by the number of students that you anticipate and or materialize. In our case, as Gigi just said, what we thought we would have was higher than what we actually realized as far as enrollment for this year. So we're in the process now of working on next year. Typically, typically February or March is when we come to the board and bring you those projections, and then we discuss them. Are they reasonable? Are they not reasonable? Substantiate those with data, and then we try to make educated decisions as far as what we anticipate to see for students in the following September.
I have no questions, so thank you very much.
Oh,
sorry.
So, question. So, with the budgets for basically the budget each grade has is based off their size.
You're talking about ASB?
No, for this grade.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're both looking at this.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like, is
okay.
that all based off their how many kids are in that grade, or is that just kind of what?
It's a good.
Physical count.
Yes.
Good question. So, how many are shown there, or how many we're anticipating for next year?
Both.
Both. How many are shown there are just actuals. Okay, those are physically broken out. How many we do enrollment counts each month. And then as far as for projections, we do what's called a roll-up or a cohort survival model, where we basically say by percentage how many 10th graders become 11th graders, how many stay within our system, because sometimes they'll lose, they'll drop out, they'll transfer, they may not continue with us. And so we keep those statistics and we say, okay, X number of percentage of students historically will move from 10th to 11th, 11th to 12th, and so forth. So we use that to help make educated decisions. If there's 100 at this grade level, how many of those 100 do we anticipate will remain with us in the next grade level? So, and we'll talk about that next month in more detail.
My question was, previously we had talked about, since we had an enrollment shortfall, an adjustment made to reassess our numbers. Is, when I'm looking at this, is that with that adjustment, or is this the original budgeted amount?
Again, these are just numbers of enrollment. This is not the apportionment that's tied to those. So your budget, your green one, is the amount of the budget. That is the original.
That is the original. Okay,
Yes.
that was my question.
Yes.
That was my
Yeah, and
question.
that was
Thank
like
you.
money and not like the
Correct.
kids.
Because you can see the discrepancy is still almost 94 students down in the
that's why I
lower
was
right
trying
hand
to
corner.
understand why it was still significantly different.
We certainly could, and I could indicate that as budget revised, maybe with an R after it, and change that column. I
Yes,
certainly could do that, but it's based on the original budget.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you,
All right, so we're going to do approval of SHS as satellite for Snow Isle first, and then we'll do schedule committee after that.
Wait, you're changing this, right?
We voted on that.
Yeah, that was our change.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Carissa Kelly. I'm CTE director. I teach too, but I'm here as CTE director.
I'm Wes Allen. I'm the director of Snow Isle Tech Skills Center in beautiful South Everett.
So, do you guys know about Snow Isle Tech?
Oh yeah.
I attended 1986 to 1988.
So it's a growing thing. Currently, I think we send 36 students
36 as of yesterday.
to Snow Isle. We have an awesome opportunity to host a satellite branch for early education program. So it would be, instead of sending them to Everett, they do the 3 classes like they typically do, and then we will have a teacher come to us and teach them on our campus, and then eventually when they do their internship, we'll push them to our elementary schools, our kindergarten, pre-K transitions. A little bit about the program. So they just got offered 1 English credit to do this, as well as 12 college credits through EVCC. They can earn their STARS training, as well as the opportunity to sit for the Para-Educator Certificate exam. So by the end of this, they could be certified to come and work for us as a para-educator. Snow Isle was given a 2-year grant through Snohomish County. So this first year is no cost to us other than we're housing them at our school. But they're paying for the teacher and the time and all of that.
And we'll continue to as we
Yes.
go forward.
And we
Yes.
expect there to be
Nice.
growth in the program, but with the seed money being grant money, in the event that there's not, you're not out anything. And
So
it's
this-
an opportunity for students to.
Yeah, this first year, they said even if there's 5 or 6 interested, they still want to do it because they have this grant. After that, we'll talk about numbers and see, but basically a teacher would be shared between us and Monroe. So the teacher would be in Monroe doing their satellite campus, and then in the afternoon they would come here and teach our kids.
And where the Snohomish County's getting their funding is through their continuation of their ARPA dollars that they get to spend through the 26 calendar year. And so we are in the first year of a 2-year program. We're started in Mukilteo, and next year we'll grow to Sultan, Monroe, Granite Falls, and Carlington, along with going to full-time in Mukilteo. It's based on the need that the county identified for lacking early childhood educators, and then also the need that the school system has identified throughout the state to be able to meet the need for paraeducators, with a focus on multilingual paraeducators.
I read through everything and it looks awesome. So I don't have any questions. Dave, do you have questions?
No, it looked great. That's all.
Isaac, any
No, it
questions?
sounds great.
Mary Ann?
This will be the only program to start the ECAP early childhood education that would be in the satellite program. So anyone taking veterinary tech or dentistry or welding would still go to the South Everett campus.
Cameron and her crew still get to ride the bus every day, all the way into Everett, because I can't bring the horse out here every day to be able to make that
You
happen.
could.
You could.
Could.
We have
but,
many
Everett will like it,
yeah.
honestly.
Yeah. Our other 23 programs will still be on main campus.
Okay.
The early childhood ed / paraeducator program is our only current satellite program. We are exploring more options that I'm looking to do in partnership with the Superintendent's Council to be able to make sure that we better meet the needs of students as we're growing, not only as a skill center cooperative, but also as a county. We now service 15 districts and 46 high schools. We should be the largest skill center in the state. Sadly, we're not. And the hope is that as we're waiting for the 10-year capital plan that we submitted to the state to be able to do growth, because we can't do bonds and levies as a skill center because there's 15 districts. We have to do a process to be able to gauge our growth based on opportunities to be able to receive funding from Olympia. And so since we do it that way, I have to wait in line to be able to do it on a needs-based opportunity like the community technical college system does. So we're on queue for 29 to 31 to get our next building on campus to be able to grow to where we need to be. With that is the importance of having the satellite campuses. And what we realize, especially for our East County folks that are growing faster even than our West County folks, we need to start having some of those programs out here that better meet the needs of our students. And so starting with something that's a need for our entire county is really our basis to start.
Cameron, do you have any questions? Did you have another question?
I'd like Dan to work with you to arrange a visit for any board members or staff members or parents that would like to come see the facility.
We're currently working on that and having multiple school districts coming through doing that.
Perfect, thank you.
Cameron, questions?
I think it's a great idea.
I think that I kind of know what we're going to say on this, but do we have a motion to approve SHS as a satellite for Snow Isle Tech early childhood education?
I would love to make that motion.
We have a motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Thank you.
Done
Thank
deal. Thank you. Approval of SHS schedule committee recommendation to move forward to next step. Do we have someone doing that, or are we just?
I think it was just to recognize that here tonight. And I think, since we had this 2 weeks ago at our last board meeting, I guess it would have been February 12th, clarifying, what does this mean? And so Paul and I, mostly Paul, but I agree with all this, a number of things that have to be looked at as part of this process. It's complex. The staff, came to us with, or the committee, Paul, let you, talk about the committee, with, looked at a number of different possibilities, and this is what emerged as the first step. And so we put a bunch of things in here that felt like need to be considered as part of that. number one is when you go from a 48-minute, learning period of time to 80 minutes, you have to plan for that. And we have to make sure that we're all bought into that. Second thing is PLCs. That's a big part of our focus to meet some of the academic things that we're trying to do, and it's got to be built into this somehow. And there's a whole list there. I won't go through it all, but Paul, you want to talk a little bit about it?
I think the main thing we need to do is I think all were on board with the scheduling committee moving forward, so we just need to basically make a motion tonight that we agree that we want to move forward and pass it off kind of to a transition or whatever we want to call it group.
Yeah, I think we were looking at another committee to look at what we needed in order to implement such a program.
And I think what you guys attached is a great list of stuff to look into.
Yeah, that's a small list, not an exhaustive list.
My question would be, are you going to take the lead as far as getting the next committee up and running? Or who's going to do that?
I'm kind of at the mercy of the superintendent in terms of other duties as assigned. So that would be a decision that Mr. Chapwick would have to make.
Do you have anything you want to throw in there, or?
The only thing I would say here is, as part of the committee, is we talked about what needs to happen from a transactional stage in terms of change. And so this is what ultimately is a cultural change. And to move to a cultural change, we often call that transcendency. So there's 3 steps or 3 orders of change that need to occur. And certainly a schedule can be transactional. We can put that in place. But in order to build it within our community and part of our culture, it's going to take some time in order to do that. And so change usually is a 5 to 7 year period in order to get to that transcendency. And ultimately the goal of the committee and all of us is to do what's necessary to help our children be successful. And that was the purpose of the committee, coming up with that. And the other piece of that is making sure that when we do implement this change, we do so with a thoughtful process and ensuring that it's successful.
Does anyone have any questions before we make a motion to approve to move the scheduling committee, or to approve their recommendation to move it forward to the next step? No? Okay.
Are we going to include the early start eval with that?
We can put that kind of on a list when they get started, I think.
Let's do that.
Yeah, okay. So we need a motion to approve SHS's scheduling committee's recommendation to move forward to the next step.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
I
Moving
think I would
on.
just add in to clarify, that means over the 24-25 school year, this work will be happening with the target of the 25-26 school year implementation, because it takes work.
There's a lot of stuff to do. Yeah. All right.
25, 26, not 24, 25.
24-25 would be the work year and getting all of the prep done.
Right.
Now
Okay.
until then, and then 25-26 is the implementation.
That's right. Yeah.
Board vote on scope of math curriculum. Hi. Haven't seen you in a while.
I know. Have to be here all the time. So we're down to the point where we've said yes, we want to buy an elementary math curriculum. And now tonight we have to have a kind of a serious conversation about what the board would like to do as far as how much of the curriculum we're going to purchase at any one time. So I gave you lots of information. I tried to capture all the questions and then the answers and then the re-questions, so hopefully it read that way. I tried to work really hard on that cover sheet, so hopefully the one you're seeing. So all of those. I would like to say thank you to Foundry 10 publicly for their donation for our manipulatives for the entire math curriculum. So that is in place, and those will be here in June. So the grid paper looks like this in your packets are the options, and so I do need to let you know that when we asked if they could do payments, they said they would do that if we did the full 6 grades and the full 6 years, because we do a 6-year adoption to try to get through the process, and then we're looking at it again. So that's this is a 6-year purchase, and that includes all of the licensing and all of the programming and all of the books, if that's the chosen method. Some of our middle school and high school curriculum we did digital copies and a hard copy. These would most likely be all hard copies, is what I would anticipate the teams would have. So 3 options, even though I said at the top of that, option 1 is the K through 5 purchase. And that would qualify for Mr. Ballard's doing the 2 payments, one in June, one in September, and that's $124,278. Option 2 would be, and we can choose which ones these would be, but would be doing in 24 year, we would do 3 grade levels, and in 25 we would do 3 grade levels. So that would be an option where you purchase 3 at a time. And then I asked them to give me a 3rd set of quotes, and that is on doing 2 grades at a time. I didn't know where the budget was going to be when we got down to this point, so I'm giving you lots of options, and go from there.
Question.
Yes.
So option 1, you're doing K through 5.
K through 5.
So kids are kind of in 5th grade are going to be jumping into something new immediately, right? Where if in option 3, you're starting them off in kindergarten, they're kind of moving through it over a series of years, right?
We could, or we could choose to, for example, we could choose the 2 grade levels to be 3rd and 4th grade, because they're the ones that are doing state testing. So we could start. We can control what we buy when, if we're going to go with option 2 or option 3.
So with option 3, though, the first year we'd buy
2 grade levels.
First grade, right? Kindergarten, 1st grade.
We could, or
and
we
then
could
the
do.
Following year we'd buy 2nd, 3rd grade.
That's how I have it.
4th and 5th grade. It looks like that's the way you have it laid out.
It is laid out, but I mean, they give us the option. We can choose which 2 grade levels we want to buy the materials for.
What is your recommendation?
Well, the principals and I would have a long discussion about that. We'd include Mr. Chaplick, and we'd try to really come up with where do we want to have this. So we are still in pilot mode. So we have 4 teachers that still have the ability to use this as a pilot, and what we're finding is they're continuing to learn new things about the Ready Mathematics classroom.
Okay.
Let me, as a member of the Instructional Materials Committee, I will say that curriculum and our teachers are like the 2 biggest things for success of our kids. So my recommendation is, since we can do option 1 and have it build in 2 different fiscal years, I don't see a good reason to not do that one, because the sooner we can get this curriculum to our kids, the sooner we're going to see improvement in their math scores and their math knowledge. So to me, since we can do that payment in about 2 years, to me that's like it is option 1.
What was the finance stretch?
Well, so this is the total.
Yep.
They'll allow us to pay half of it.
Half and half.
This fiscal year, yeah. And then the other half next fiscal year.
There's no interest or anything.
No, and it's what the numbers that Dan, wherever he went back there, put up, that includes.
That's a built in.
Yes.
Awesome.
Cameron or Marianne?
Nice. Dan? Fowler?
Yes.
What's the state guidelines, rules for splitting up purchasing between school years and pre-committing a future budget?
I don't think that there would be any concerns there from that standpoint. I guess my bigger concern is that while I appreciate what Mike did in reaching out to the vendor and them offering this, please remember, your end of August and September are only, you know, 3 weeks away. Even though it's a different fiscal year, it's really within 30 days of the end of the fiscal year, and you're adding an additional payment in September, which is already a heavy month as far as bills are concerned. I mean, and just full disclosure, but no, I don't have any concerns from that standpoint.
Would they be okay? Do you think we've tried October?
I can always ask. I mean, they've been they're wonderful to work with, and so and we have that discussion in the Instructional Materials Review Committee. We talk about our relationship as a district with these vendors. They tend to give us they give us everything and that's really nice. And some of them don't give us anything, and that is also reflected in what team members.
Couple things that might maybe this way. Number one, the curriculum we're using was adopted 10 or 12 years ago, and it's we've really moved on from it. We have a few teachers piloting this as we speak. When you're in a classroom where it's being used and people have been trained, you notice a difference right away. You can't, you know, and we got to just remind ourselves constantly, why are we here? What brings us together? And it's student learning, you know, all of this. The second thing is, I would say that you could go with an option where you do the June payment, and then we can assess over the next couple of months and still make that happen if we're in a position where it, you know, financially we have what you consider as a board to be a comfortable enough fund balance.
And I say if we ask if they'll do October, I think that would make Dan feel a lot better.
I'm just, after our enrollment shortfall, I'm just really not comfortable committing a big amount. What I am comfortable with, since you're looking at a June 24 and a September 24 at $124,278 payment each, granting the option to grade 3 through 5 at $123,594.62. Moving forward with that now, implementing it, getting it going, and then after our October 1st enrollment count next year, see where we come in on our budget and go back and pick up the other K through second grade piece. That's my comfort level on only committing what we can afford right now and waiting to see what our next year numbers are if we can't fully afford to buy it all right now. And it would at least give us grades 3 through 5 to get started on.
If, I think kind of what Dan said, if we did say option 1 and we get started with it and we find that we can't do the rest of it right away, then is that kind of what you were alluding to?
Yeah, I would say, you know, I similar, I guess, a little bit to what a couple of different things you're saying. You know, Marianne just said 3 through 5. I would say authorize half of it right now, and then Mike and the principals, we can figure out, is this a K2 start or is this a 3-5 start, and determine that.
Okay.
Because the amounts are negligible, 5,000, you know, difference between the two.
So authorizing the option 2, the K through 2 and 3 through 5.
And then what I will
say
do,
yes on one of them. You tell us which one you want.
And here's another way to look at it. You know, we just found out literally last week that we knew that we were transporting a lot more kids. We didn't know what it would equal financially. It about equals half of this, you know, and so we just got, you know,
that pays for our June payment right there.
They're going to pay $120,000 or something more for transportation because our buses are loaded with kids, you know, and that's a lot of that's from the new neighborhoods because we're transporting those kids, and you don't. We go in budgeting, but until we have to start new routes, or we have to add new legs to the routes, and until you get 3 counts, Charlie, you do? That you see kind of where you are, and we can tell just from looking at the ridership, which is the number of kids riding these buses, that it was way up. We just didn't know what it was going to be, and so you know, it's really kind of a wash there. And then what I do moving forward from here on out is try to make sure that I can cut costs enough to do the other half.
In the next school year, yeah. None of us were prepared for COVID in 2020, and I don't want to put us in a position where if some other crazy thing comes sliding into first base that we're caught short.
With the addition of the transportation money, that's kind of what clicked in my head to personally, I would like to go option one. It'll just be whatever the group decides. I would rather do option one, get these kids the curriculum that they need and get them going on it, knowing that we have that extra transportation money that can help with half the cost. And then we only have the other half. So what are your thoughts?
Well, I like the option one too, but I like pushing it to October after you have the transportation money, so that makes sense to me.
We'll have the transportation money. When do we have
Yeah,
it
now.
We have it
February.
now.
They pay us part now,
Yeah.
I think half, and they do it the way they do it with enrollment,
That's right.
and it's a little bit each month for the rest of the year.
I was just saying October because it would make Dan feel better.
But it's money that we didn't have built into the budget.
Yes.
Right.
But what the overhead cost for the extra transportation is already being dealt with?
So it frees up
Buses
general
over.
fund money because it's 120,000 that you didn't plan on.
Yeah.
That you need to serve kids, and now you have the dedicated funds to serve it, so it frees up money to buy curriculum or whatever, or save, or whatever the board chooses to do with it.
But, you know, going through that other sheet, Doug, we're spending a whole lot on fuel and stuff, so we're gonna burn that money. I mean, it's a real cost.
We're
with all
spending
those
it.
additional
We're spending
buses.
that anyway.
Right.
So
Yeah,
that's
a
not,
huge cost there that
Yeah.
we just wrote a bunch of checks for it.
but that's not going to change. Like that's going
Right.
to be there. So we have this extra money now. The
Okay.
buses are still full.
I guess what I would say is, up to a week ago, we were talking about how to do this curriculum without even knowing about the transportation
Yeah.
money.
Mhm.
So the transportation money goes dedicated to transportation costs.
Got it.
Thus, transportation's not pulling from other places to fund the cost of running that.
That sounds better how you worded
Yeah.
that. Before it was we're taking the transportation
Yeah.
money. Okay, that makes way more
There's
sense.
still a voice at the table that I haven't heard from. You were looking for a recommendation from Mike. I still haven't heard that.
So, well, of
I mean,
course,
as far from the educational point of view.
Yeah, we have spent the better part of 2 years working on this particular adoption, and it's gone through several iterations, and so I would like to see it at option one, but I'm a realist. I mean, I can't say that I'm going to say let's impact the district at the higher number. I mean, I can see
Sure.
option two working just fine. I mean, and if I could get them to do the payment in October, where we would know our enrollment for next year, which that's just a question. I'll call tomorrow morning and find out. So, and they'll say yes or no. I mean, so there's always that. So I can ask them to do that and see what they say.
And we could all, if you guys wanted to do option one, we could always say with the stipulation of like a phone call in October.
We'll get the phone call and find the answer out, but
we need
I'd say
to-
go,
we have
go
to-
with option
with
one.
the vote. I like the whole like dedicate the half amount toward either option one or option 2, 3 for fifth. But we could make the decision if we want to move forward for the next chunk if it goes that route. Is that what you guys were saying?
I think you're kind of committed though, aren't you?
Well,
We're buying
in
the
order
whole
to do
program.
anything, we need to vote on it tonight. We can vote and say we will do, let's say, option one, if they, with the stipulation that they say that they can do the payment in October, and then that would go forward. If they say no, then we would have to do.
I'd still say option one.
I just have a lot of concerns since we started out. Our actual head count was about 147 kids short at 17,000 per kid. We were like 1 point.
We budgeted for significant growth.
It was our
It's
budget.
not
It was
really a shortfall.
It wasn't. Yeah, we
The growth
just
didn't
budgeted
happen.
incorrectly.
The growth didn't happen, but we didn't budget to $250,000 for the math curriculum too. And so we're having to balance things out, and I'm just not comfortable committing $250,000 right now. If we can squeeze blood out of a turnip for $125,000, I'm more comfortable with that this cycle, and then next school year find the other $125,000 and finish it off.
Cameron, we haven't heard from you.
I understand with option one, kind of giving it to the students, giving them the curriculum to actually get started, but I fear with that one just because that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money there in the first place, and we have no idea if this is going to work for our students. We don't, and I fear that we use all this money to buy the curriculum and then it doesn't work well at all, and then we've kind of almost wasted that. So big part of me wants to go with option 2 because it's almost like dipping our toes in to try it out for some, kind of see how that is, and if it's working, let's continue. Let's get the rest of it. But if it's not, being like, maybe let's not go with that.
It's a really good thought. I think the thing is, like, that's how all curriculum, he's going to tell you, like, it's all in, and the committee, like, spends a lot of time going through, and then it gets, he can tell you better than I can, but
it's reviewed by each of the. So we had 8 teachers doing pilots in the fall, and so 4 of them did the Ready Classroom Mathematics, and 4 of them did the SATIS, which is what the middle school and high school have. That's what the team put forward as our pilot materials. What, like in this building, at Sultan Elementary, they had a particular person that was piloting, loves it so much, gets her team very involved in doing that, and so now there are 5 teachers that are using it with her, kind of guiding them through that. So and that's very effective.
But I also feel like it's a big accountability on teachers to make sure those test scores are going up. So I feel like that's a big teacher push there too. So if you truly want that, I feel like that a push with our teachers too, to kind of have them accountable for making those scores go up.
And we do get student feedback when these go out. That we get teacher feedback, but we also get student feedback, and it was really, they liked it.
And the other thing that Dan said before, right at the get-go, is we're on an old program now that's.
They're using paper.
Yeah. So I mean, at some point you throw the slide rules out.
I do think something needs to change. Yeah, like I don't feel like I'm not saying that it shouldn't be changed. I think it should be changed, but I cautious how much we're willing to change for something we don't know 100% is going to be effective for everyone. The best possibility for majority.
I know that's like the name of the game.
Yeah, it is
all curriculum.
So that's why I kind of am leaning towards option 2, just because of not going all the way, so we can really for sure, hey, this majority here kind of just testing it out, saying, yeah, okay, these are what we got, people like, we're gonna go with it, or hey, maybe not. It kind of gives us that, I feel like that wiggle room to decide truly, 100% yes.
You want to make a motion? Somebody needs to make a
motion to adopt option 1, I guess, if that's what you're asking me.
Well, so we need to do a motion. Somebody's going to need to do a motion, and then we'll vote, and then if it goes through, and if not, then we will do another motion. But need a motion to approve. You said option 1.
Motion to approve option 1
for the elementary math curriculum. We have a motion. All in favor? Aye.
I'm an aye.
I'm a nay.
Okay. So it carries. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Please still make the phone call, Mike.
I will make it first thing in the morning. Thank you.
All right, we probably should move a little faster. Updated weather damage. We had weather, it damaged.
We've had fun. Good evening, directors. I talked about 2 weeks ago about some of the water damage that we had from the storm. Most of our classrooms are back to usable again. We have not moved all the teachers in yet, but they need time to.
How many at Gold Bar? How many here? Just start writing.
1 classroom at Gold Bar and 3. Well, there's 4 rooms at the high school, but one of them is a science lab, so it's not a full-time classroom.
Is the science lab done? Are they fully operational there?
It still has some furniture in it, but yes, they've been using it.
Okay.
The gym is a whole nother story. We're kind of in a holding pattern, waiting for approvals from the insurance company on direction to know whether we're going to replace part of the floor, just try to resurface it, or replace the whole thing. So we're waiting for a response from our adjuster to know that direction, and the sooner the better, because there are a lot of districts that were hit by the storm, and there's only a certain amount of supply of that type of wood for gym floors, and so as the demand grows, and the supply diminishes, the price could go up.
So when we had talked, we spoke about doing a 10 by 10 area to see if we hit nails, to see if it could be sanded down.
It was measured. They did some core samples and measured that they felt like it could, but because of the amount of moisture underneath, what they're afraid of is right now it's the boards are turned up this way, and if we flatten them out and with that moisture still there, they'll crown the other way, and so then we'll have the opposite problem.
So did we get a recent moisture reading?
Yeah, so it's still at 14%. The number's 14. It has to be below 10% for it to think that the wood's dry enough to not curve the other way.
And so that could be water underneath, could be water within.
Yeah, so basically there's a slab of concrete underneath there, and there's little pucks that support the wood of the gym floor, and that's how you get your spring. But yeah, there's a gap in there, and it's a floating floor, which means that there's a gap all the way around all the walls, and so when the water hit the floor, it goes to the gap, drops down, floats to the bottom.
Should they aerate in that gap? Because that would have got a lot of the moisture.
You can, but because of the temperatures, it doesn't dry fast. Sure. They used devices that help pull the water out, and they were filling garbage cans full every day. But I mean, that's a long process, and they feel like the recommendation from the remediation company is to replace all of the boards that were turned up, and then resand the existing what's left, and basically you have half a new floor. And that's our recommendation to the insurance company.
That's awful.
When will we hear back from them? Do we know?
We have a meeting on Thursday with them.
Yep, Zoom meeting. So hopefully we'll know then.
You gonna send us an email when you get after that?
You bet.
So then SES roof also?
Yeah, so a week ago last Saturday we had some wind. The play structure out here, the east side of it folded up and over the top, and it was flapping in the wind.
The covered area, correct?
Yeah, the covered play area. And that structure is the newest structure on this campus. But we had some guys come out to give us some numbers. I don't have numbers yet, but there's some metal that needs to be replaced on that.
I was down at Puyallup. My niece's final game playing for POU, and got a text from somebody here that said, "Hey man, you get this roof is flat." So I texted Charlie. He got somebody down here, and it needed help.
Is that an all metal roof?
Mostly metal roof. It has some sections of clear fiberglass to let light in.
Oh, right.
Do you have anything positive to say, Charlie?
You're fired. Not really. I'm going to be up at 3 in the morning to drive routes again. And you guys get to hear my voice in the morning.
I want to say though, for anyone listening, that when we get those robocalls and stuff, we're getting them like hours after this guy has gone out and checked the roads himself, and I never really thought about that until being on the board.
There's a lot that goes into that.
Yeah, thank you for that.
And not only making sure that the bus routes are safe, it's making sure that the campuses are safe when the students and faculty show up. So,
and it's not always because there's like a ton of snow. There's ice, and we have like a lot of hills and stuff.
And we have two climates. It's all one climate, but
Yeah.
Sultan varies from Boulevard.
Yeah.
Oh, big time.
Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Charlie.
Paul, all right, I think you're up again. Assessment of health services.
All right, good evening, directors.
Hello.
It's my pleasure tonight to introduce you to Deb Shirley. She is one of the National Board Certified Nurses in our district, and she's going to talk to you a little bit about health services assessment
So,
Thank you for waiting so long
Thank
to
you. Oh, of course.
come up and talk.
Yeah, so every year OSPI asks us to do a report of basically the status of our health services in our district and the health of our students, and they compile all that data for useful information. But I passed on my report that I did to Dr. Douglas, and so he asked I share it to you. And so in the packet are the last 2 years of the report, and then I just wanted to share a little bit, since some of you I don't know, haven't had the pleasure to meet yet. Some of you I've been your school nurse for a long time, but talk a little bit about health services, who we are, what we do. And so we have 4 members of our health services staff. We have 2 registered nurses and 2 health room assistants. And then that is just a chart, the first slide in the PowerPoint, of the different building populations and our nurse or health aide hours. And so you see we have nurses at both elementary schools. I'm part-time, Rachel at Fulton Elementary is full-time, and then we have a full-time medical assistant who's working as a health room aide both at the middle school and the high school. And the biggest change from last year is last year we had a registered nurse at the high school that was full-time, and then she was a contract employee, and so she didn't come back this year, and we have a health room assistant who's working there 20 hours. So then what we do is on the next slide. One of the most visible things is if a student gets hurt at school or needs a Band-Aid or something, we take care of them if they're sick, but there's a lot more to what we do. We manage medications, student medications, either daily medications or as needed, or emergency medications. We create student health plans, which are distributed to teachers and other school staff, outlining what to do in case of a health emergency for a student who has a chronic health condition, maybe a life-threatening allergy, diabetes, seizures, heart conditions. We make sure that staff know what to do in those circumstances. We participate in multidisciplinary teams like safety committee teams, care teams, 504 teams. We do staff training around general things such as how to use Narcan or how to use an EpiPen, or specific to certain students who have, those care plans I talked about. We work with immunization compliance, and I have to just brag a little bit. We are over 99% of our students are in compliance with their legal immunizations. That's awesome. That's taken a lot of work and support from the board and the superintendent and Dr. Douglas, so I'm proud of that. And then we, of course, help develop district-wide health-related policies and procedures. That I think the naloxone policy is on the agenda later. You'll come up with that. Our AED policy, EpiPens. We help decide who's too sick to go to school and have our school-wide protocols about that. And we do health screenings, vision, hearing screening for those grades listed, and then upon request of the teacher, parent, or student asks, we will check their vision and hearing. And then we, of course, do our state reports. And then, so what I did is I took a little bit of data from the last 2 years, and one thing I thought was interesting that stood out to me is last year, and this is just a snapshot basically of one day in time, because I pull data from PowerSchool and do lots of counting. So we had 67 medications prescribed last year. This year we have 99. 74 of those are emergency medications. Those would be EpiPens, emergency rescue medications for seizures, asthma inhalers, or emergency glucose for students with type 1 diabetes. And so that went up 20 from 54 last year to 74 this year. So we have a lot of students who have the potential to have health emergencies at school, and so our nurses and health staff make sure that we are prepared to deal with those and have everything in place. And then we have, at the time of this, we had 128 health plans, up from 122 last year. And I know I just wrote 2 for the high school this week, so we have a few more than that. And then nurse hours, we are down to 64.5 hours a week of nursing time, and then we have 57 hours of health room assistance. So I do know, and I can say that our staff and our students and our parents are definitely more comfortable when they know that they have either a full-time nurse in their building or a trained medical professional, because parents every day trust us to take care of their kids, and some of these kids have complicated health conditions and need somebody along, and so we're happy to provide that service. So that's what I have. Do you have any questions?
Cameron, questions? Marianne?
Having had a medically fragile child who was a preemie, who had a lot of respiratory issues, you guys do a great job. He had a lot of meds at school, so yes, thank you.
Isaac? I just from volunteering at the high school a couple weeks ago, there's always somebody coming in to the nurse's office. So, do you have any questions or comments? Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Good job. You guys do a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Safe stop.
I just wanted to comment that it's approved, that it was done through the facility use process, and unfortunately Charlie left just a minute too early because I was going to have him address that. But I think we're ready to go. I think the kickoff date is Friday, March the 8th, and so any board members or anybody that wants to volunteer or be down there to interact with the kids in a safe place on a Friday evening at Sultan Middle School in the Commons. I know that's appreciated. They try to get firefighters involved, police officers, whomever, and I'm glad that this is coming back. It gives some positive options for students that they're in a safe place where they can have fun and go home safely when they're done.
I'm excited.
Dan, did we figure out how long it's been? Was that 2014, 2015
It's
type range?
It's been a while.
It's been a while, yeah.
It's been a while.
All right, discussion of the 2024 bond.
I've got a few things I want to say, but I wanted to just share, and I don't know, a couple thoughts on this. There's the Citizen Facility Advisory Committee, and that's a group of citizens. We put out an application to get people involved. The board directed me to do it a little over a year ago, and this is the second time we've done it. As even if we didn't grow another student, our buildings are aging, and while I wish we could just rebuild everything, that's not always possible. And so we went through a pretty comprehensive process with anywhere from 15 to 18 citizens and 5 to 7 staff. I know Mike Barnell was on it, Jared, Jeff Estes, who has left, but a number of people. And I met some folks I didn't even know lived here that got on this committee because they saw the advertisement, they wanted to learn about it and see how it worked, and we developed a plan that really developed K-12. And so the part I'm going to start talking about is if you'll pull up the Steve Theringer letter, because this really, I don't know if this has been, people even know this was part of it. But not only did we have the reconfiguration that I'll talk about, but the high school, we have, I think somebody, I was reminded it was built for about 325 kids. And you saw a slide back there, we got a little over 600, a little bit less than that. So in essence, you have about half of your kids in portables at the high school, which is a learning environment. It's fine. The bigger challenge is we have one science lab, and that was just recently kind of taken out of commission by the flood. So we, in an effort to try to keep all of the schools involved in this, I worked with an architect, and I worked with Representative Eslick and Representative Steele directly with the Capital Budget Committee to add an 18,500 square foot STEM center at Sultan High School that would have put in 12 classrooms. And part of what I hope people take a minute to read this letter, because it talks about the difficulty of these kinds of issues, yet it talks about the needs. I mentioned some grants in there that we went after that we don't fit. When they set up these grants at the state level for a small school district, less than 1,000 or less than 2,000, we never meet the criteria, and it's really frustrating because I know that we can't translate everything into a tax. And if you've seen the history of bonds here, going 30 years beyond me, you'll know it's always been hard here. It's not, this isn't a new phenomenon. This is just different names, but it's always been a challenge. And so trying to touch all of our buildings, this is the piece that I'm not sure was out there as much as I wanted it to be. But we had a K-8 reconfiguration where we would have added on to Gold Bar. This would turn into a 5-6, build a new elementary school either behind the middle school, which was the initial plan, or up on the Basin Road, and then put this in the middle school become grades 7 and 8. So I don't have a lot to say other than, it's crystal clear it failed. I mean, we didn't miss anything, and it's in that. And so the next effort I would recommend is that we put together a survey, and I'm already working on it, that tries to gather some information, because one of the things that's difficult in any of these kinds of things is where do people get their information, and how do they know if it's good information or not? I put my cell phone out there on the internet. You know how many calls I get? Take a wild guess. Not much. Not much of anything. And I can answer any and all questions honestly. So part of the challenge is how do you create, whether it's a mutual trust, a trust of the school district, as the one gentleman talked about, or to where we can dialogue on these things and understand that stuff is old and stuff needs to be repaired or rebuilt, and have that be a trust issue, or have it that people can all recognize that. And that's what the CFAC, or the System Facility Advisory Committee, did, is we took them into places in these buildings that I haven't even been, to show them what goes into putting a building together. And it was such an incredible learning opportunity, but we're talking about 20 people out of 8,000 that live in the community or whatever it is. So somehow we have to figure out a way to dialogue so that the information that is accepted by people and the information is given is good. And people know that that's the case. The expense. We tried every way which we could, and we talked a lot about this as a committee, that $69 million is a lot of money. There's just no other way to describe it. So what happens if we make it cheaper? What did you run into? And those are all things that you talk about. And so this was a complex situation, and really what we need to do as a school district is listen, reach out, try to engage people, that want to ask questions or really learn about how this all works. There's things that are certainly challenges within the system that we're following the process. It's building a school is not done with a levy; it's done with a bond, much like we buy our homes. And while I wish we had cash to buy a school, if we did, we wouldn't be worried about $250,000 for a math curriculum for the elementary school. So it was just a difficult situation, information-wise, but it's a real learning opportunity for everybody. And I just wanted to kind of convey from my perspective that I think it's a great opportunity to dialogue, inviting people to come into events. Isn't always successful. It's not until a bond shows up on the ballot that people you get their attention, because we tried all kinds of stuff to get people in, and and so we want to gauge the cost, we want to gauge the project scope, we want to gauge the where are the issues. There was a number of people saying that things are mismanaged. Well, if that's the case, blanket firing should occur. Problem is you can't ever point out these mismanagement things that people bring up. So it's really frustrating in those aspects.
Yeah, just keep blowing in the wind. But
yeah.
Well, I don't think these guys might not know that there's like the community bond committee that has been meeting, that they are the ones that spearheaded the door knocking and that kind of stuff too.
Went down to that. So.
Yeah.
And Isaac's wife was there too. So.
Yeah.
So
it'd be nice just to get more than a third of people voting.
But it would be.
That would be a big one.
Also, I think you put the bond out there, and then you go knock on doors. And it seems like you got to be knocking on doors here, right? And so, you can reach everybody and actually have a valid discussion and say, look, we want to put this on the bond, and are you up for the vote? And, you know, you need more of a runway than what we had.
And I think that's a really good point. The argument I would make for it is, you know, you could, especially for the group that spent over a year doing all this work. It was a lot of work, and they got to see the need up close and up front. And if you wait, here's a couple things that happen. Because one of the things that happens is, well, gosh, you run it in February, and it costs more money than if you waited until November. Well, a couple ways to look at that. One is there's some truth to that. There's 11 issues that were on this ballot. There will be more next November, but that number is dwarfed compared to what construction inflation will happen over that.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking several $100,000 just in 11 months versus a few thousand, maybe 10. I don't even know. We will pay the least for running it in February.
Yeah, but you'll get more people to vote. Like I said.
Yeah, you will for sure.
I mean, yeah, we need that.
Yeah.
That's the next decision is, because we're going to have to do something. The problem doesn't go away. So when do we want to run it again? We're not going to make that decision tonight, but that's
First step is to do a survey and try to engage with folks and get people to, you know, talk about their concerns and you know, figure out how we do something. I was talking to somebody, you know, just recently, and they reminded me, this is somebody that's been involved in volunteer for a long time. Gold Bar, when it was built, the project was cut down to where it is now, to where it finally passed. Sultan High School took 3 times back in 1987, and you've got a school built for 325 kids that's got 600 in it, or a few more. And those are challenges that you can serve kids for a while in portables, but at some point the rest of the infrastructure doesn't keep up.
No.
And so you're talking about, you know, this school right here where if you've watched lunch be served in there, and that's where some of the challenges with all of where the new neighborhoods, they're filling into this school right here. And so you've got, you know, it's significant. We grew by 90 in 1 year in this school, even though we might have lost kids in some of the other schools. But points are well taken, and I think the main thing we've got to do is engage and listen and give people opportunities to give feedback and see, you know, what kind of information we're able to collect. That's just my perspective. I don't know if you guys want to comment or if you've already commented or.
I agree with it. I just feel like the push needs to be not all at once, right at the very end. You need to get out there and all year round.
I think
communicate better.
The hard part about is getting the people to like volunteer to like help with this and stuff. So we just need to.
Yeah.
But I know you're going to go to every door. He said that.
Well, I've been out knocking on doors, so you know. But you know, somehow we need to pull more people into our fold.
Yep.
60% is hard.
Yeah.
It's a tall order.
Cameron.
I also think we definitely need to get students more involved.
That would be
Because I feel that if it's coming from a student, I feel like, yes, some adults may not listen, but others I feel they will, especially when they're hearing that their students, their kids are having these issues. Because I know parents listen to their kids more than they listen to other adults.
I don't know. I think if you've got high schoolers out there doing it.
Not even just that, even middle schoolers.
Yep.
Honestly, I feel like all age groups to kind of tell their story of this is what's going on in my school, and you're not willing to help me. Why?
When the levy failed, and then we did it.
It is okay because enough is enough. It really is. We gotta do what's best for our schools, and I feel like to use kids, let's do it. We go through this every day.
Well,
you're a living proof of what's going on. So why not
treat
use us?
her well?
I didn't do any of that.
All right. So we'll do the survey, I think, and let's see what it says, and
so
then
the
we
next
can.
step will be trying to engage people. And I had mentioned I send a letter to the CFAC, and part of what I had recommended to them is, you know, once we get some closure here, we'll meet again. Try to invite some people that would want to go through more, not abbreviated, but not as in depth, because it was an incredible amount of meeting and work and stuff. But give people an opportunity to see how this all works, and is
All right. Discussion of board protocols, outreach, and workshops. This is me me, and I will try to be quick because it's getting late. I would like to propose, these are not anything that we're going to vote on, but just kind of discuss the operating protocols and board standards that was in the packet. Did you guys kind of see those a little bit? There's examples of what some other districts do, and there's what ours says. And basically what I see in a lot of other districts, they come together, they discuss what they want their kind of their protocols, their operating procedures, you know, how they're going to treat each other and how they're going to work together, and they come up with it as a group, and then you sign off on it. And then so I would really like to do that if you guys are up for that. It would just kind of be like looking over this what I put in there, and then discussing it at our next meeting, and just kind of coming up with like a draft and kind of go from there. Are you guys in on that?
Okay.
I am.
Let's read through it.
WASDA in-person board session. We need to pick a date in March so that we can hold our in-person boot camp. So Kayla will send out a, what do you call those? A poll, a date poll, whatever it's called. So we can get that scheduled. Workshops before study sessions. If you guys look at, say, like Monroe, or there's a lot of other schools, Walla Walla, Arlington, they do workshops before a lot of their meetings. Some do like before every meeting. I talked to Isaac about a little, like putting, when you did your orientation, doing a workshop before the study sessions each month, that we can go like deep dive into topics like the budget. I put on there too. We would just come up with like a calendar, transparencies, board goals, like our new strategic plan, things like that. That we could accomplish a lot of that if we did a workshop before study sessions.
So what do you think, a half hour?
I don't think like an hour, but it's like once a month.
Can I ask, were we going to move forward with changing our meeting times to
Yes.
6 o'clock? So would this be a 5 o'clock before our 6 o'clock meeting?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure I understood that correctly.
And it'd just be once a month.
Okay, yeah, that would be perfect.
But, and if you guys saw, it's in the packet. I just kind of put some of the topics: transparency, board goals, a healthy survey, communication, budget, like a deep dive, so we really understand like the budget, mission statement, vision, strategic plan. So there's a lot of stuff that would be great to update, but it's just hard to find the time like in meetings, unless we want to be here till like 10 or 11. So we can talk about that. I also would like to propose restarting our community outreach listening sessions. We did them back during the levy, where we would have 2 board members and Dan, and we did like Kiss the Sky books, and then I think a couple in Gold Bar, and it was different board members every time, and then it was only 2 board members, so there wasn't ever a quorum. But it's a chance for people to come, and helps with the communication and the transparency. People can come and actually like chat with us, because this is our meeting and people watch us meet, but we don't really get to interact with people, and it's an opportunity for us to interact with
It can be
the
any
community.
topic
Yeah,
that's school related.
it can be whatever. Transparency and communication. Those meetings would be great for that. Other things that I've seen, sometimes boards will do like a letter, community letter from the board that addresses, any issues or, questions people have, surveys, requesting feedback. And then the other last thing on here was the Robert Rules of Order. I'm not going to get into that right now. I'll just read on it. There's a couple things that we haven't been doing that we're supposed to be doing. So just want to kind of fix that, so we're doing everything the right way. Questions? Hate anything I said, or you're like, no, I don't want to do anything else. I think, because like we talked about earlier, just like getting everybody kind of to work together instead of like a bunch of individuals with individual agendas. We can all work together for the kids. Did you have a question? Okay. Try to go fast as I could. Discussion of board compensation. Dan?
So there is a let's see what we've got here. Board members can be compensated. I think the policy 1733. Can you pull that up, David? And this talks about it, what the board has chosen to do up till now, and it's time to kind of revisit that. Is the money that would come for the $50 per board member would go into an account, and then this was started, I think, by the recommendation of Kate Raisler several years ago to put it towards some activity that we didn't otherwise have a line item for. But all board members have a right to receive $50 compensation for each board meeting, and so that's up for discussion.
So I interpreted that different.
Okay.
I interpreted it like if we all went to Olympia for a day, you get paid for that too, and that money could be applied to something. So it's all board member activity. That's the way I understand it.
Yeah, it's meetings,
So
activities, committees.
if we had like a special club that we wanted to contribute that to, you know?
Well, I think what the issue is, we need to, because legally we can be compensated, so we need a form that we sign that says I choose to receive the compensation or I choose not to receive the compensation. If we don't receive it, then Dan Ballard, who probably left, it goes into.
Dan never leaves.
Well, it doesn't have to go into the general fund. It
No.
can go to a specific
Yes.
project of our choosing.
Because it goes, I think it goes right now like in a board, you know, like our development fund or whatever, but then we can use it for what we want. But we have to like physically say, you know, I want the money or I don't want the money. I think that's kind of what.
I do not want to give the other people any fuel. That's not happening. I do
Well,
not.
yeah, because we get paid.
Yeah.
Well,
you hear that a lot. Like you guys are paid.
So
for
there's a timesheet that is the way it works.
Yeah.
Just use a timesheet.
So I think if we could just come up with a form
No,
that
but-
says we can mark it off.
Hold on a second, though. I think to that ends, though, this money doesn't come from our local taxpayers, does it? It comes from the state paying us as board members, correct?
No, opposite.
Opposite. No, it is tax.
It does come from the
Yeah.
local taxpayers.
Yeah.
I'm for
'Cause the-
making sure that doesn't happen.
The state
Yeah.
says specifically, we're not paying you for this.
Yeah.
But you need to pay the board members.
So we can give everybody theirs.
I
and
misunderstood that.
you
Okay.
guys can make, you know.
And
your
$50 per meeting or attendance at things is the same that the city council is paid for the city of.
Oh, but they don't complain about that, do they?
No.
Only when people stop them at the grocery store to complain about stuff. Yes.
So if we could just get a
All right.
form that says,
Yep.
I either choose to get the money or not, and then, yeah, that should work.
We can do that. No problem at all.
And then we have policies. I think you guys probably haven't, have you been here when we've done a policy read?
I know.
So we do first reads, and pretty much when you get the policy stuff in your packet, take a look at it, and then if you have questions, you can ask Dan or Kayla, and then we kind of go through a first read. If anything comes up, we talk about it, and then we'll do a second read before it actually gets.
So this one's a little unusual. Kayla and I, we've got a master list that we go through. Right when Kayla came on, we, and I'll let you comment if you want to, Kayla. This has already had a first read. So it's ready for a second read, but there was a little bit of a delay between the first one.
This is the 5222?
3424.
3424.
Yeah.
Oh, there's another one there too. Okay.
So did anybody have any questions on the, because if there's no questions, then it can move quickly, but did anybody have questions on the 3424? Okay. So do we have a motion to approve policy 3424, opioid related overdose reversal?
I hate the name for it.
We have a motion?
I make a motion to approve. I was waiting to see if Isaac was gonna jump on
sorry.
one. No, that's okay.
I'll
I
do
make
the
a
next
motion
one.
to
Sure,
approve
motion.
policy 3424.
Mary Ann keeps a tally there.
We have a motion, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that's good. 5222, Dan?
Yeah, so this is a first read on this particular one.
Can I ask if we've had to have Narcan?
So Deb's here, we
Administer.
have Narcan in each of our schools.
We do. We have not.
We've not had to
we've not
administer
had to
it.
administer it.
Okay.
We actually just had an internal meeting about this, trying to understand when the, when it expires, is it really expired, or do you have a little time? And there's some, were you able to find some access to some?
Yes, right now the Snohomish County Health Department is giving supplies to school, but what we have in stock is good through February 25.
Yeah, so we're good shape for a while. The key is how do you know exactly where to have them? And we talked about having one down at the field for an event on a Friday night football game, and just trying to understand, and be as prepared as we can within reason. So.
Yes, that is where the kids do like to hang out back by the concession stands. That would be a perfect location.
Chuck Fan Club.
Friday night
Put
late.
some of those in there. All right, 5222.
Job sharing.
We're a little slack.
Return my train of thought. So this is you see the markup copy, and I think for those of you that haven't done policy, this is usually the way it is presented. There's either a change in the law, a board member has requested a change, or we have something that we've noticed within our policies that need to change. And so you get both a markup copy and a good one, and sometimes there's a piece of it that you don't agree with, or you have questions, you want me to go do some research, and that's totally your prerogative. Job sharing is not, not as prominent as it once was, but it still nevertheless there are situations where that could be the best thing. And so this is the markup.
I had no questions or comments. Dave, did you see anything that you had a question on?
No, but to tell you the truth, I just kind of scanned it. So.
Well, it's just the first read too. So, Isaac, any questions or comments?
No.
Marianne?
My kids had Janine San Clemente and her mom, Vicki Phoebus, job share when Janine was pregnant, and it worked out wonderfully for everybody. The kids always had one or the other, and so I highly support if it's a good plan and somebody, especially under maternity circumstances.
Well, we already have it. We're just updating the policy.
Yeah, it's just updating it. I'm good.
Every job needs to have an alternate.
Cameron,
standby
questions?
in case something happens. So.
Do we have a motion to approve the first read of policy 5222, job sharing
Motion
staff
to
members?
approve first read of policy 5222, job sharing for staff members.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right. 5240.
So this is just a cleaned up version of staff evaluation. And so this is a first read as well. And the second read will happen about a month from now. So you've got some time to dig into this. If you have questions, concerns, or anything between now and when we will go through the second read, let me know. And I can do some of the research for you or answer any of the questions that you might have. And we can go from there. And you can see that some of this is recodified law that has driven some of the change, and we'll go from there. But all classification groups are there: classified, administrative, certified.
Cameron, any questions? Marianne? Isaac?
Nope.
I have none.
None.
All right. Do we have a motion to approve first read of policy 5240, evaluation of staff?
Go ahead, Isaac.
Go ahead, Isaac.
Really? Motion to approve.
Policy
what?
5240.
5240.
So, we have a motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
So then when you look at, I'm sorry, go ahead, Gigi, I'll let you start.
The new policy is on March 25th.
Yes, some of these are second reads. This will tell you. So at the time that, here we are, February 26th, we will give you what will be the first reads for a month out at that meeting, so you have time to go through it and not trying to figure it out within a couple of days. Some of these are lengthy and complicated and don't always make sense.
Do you have a superintendent's report?
I don't. I think I covered everything up in the regular part of the agenda.
Do we have executive session?
No executive session.
Can we be done?
I make a motion to adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We're done. 9:04.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, especially sitting here the whole entire time.
Getting a little nippy in here. It's getting a little cold.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Thank you, Kayla.
Thank you, Kayla.